Yep, Synergy is definitely going to move on to the top 4. So just some quick updates, guys. Hanran has won 2-0 against Old SND, so we can all eat our words, and Blake was right. The Savages are up 1-0 against Who at the moment. So
SRL is actually down 0-1 against Leviathan, unless someone pulled a me and clicked the wrong button while they report the first match. Because I think I did that about 50% of the time.
I've done that a couple of times. So
speaking of such, do we maybe want to hop over, see if anyone from SRL is streaming? Just also because we'll get to see the perspective of kind of closer range weapon. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the audience kind of likes to see a little bit more of a kind of in your face SMG action. So maybe we can get like Tudos's gal up in here. Maybe.
Sure, we can do that.
Cool.
So just before we hop into the game, for all these to all those who are just watching, this is the Splatoon Showdown series, powered by Nintendo and Battlefy. This is the Rainmaker Finals, where everyone grabs a giant goldfish, literally a goldfish, not the animal itself, like a gigantic goldfish, and we have to transport it to the enemy team's base. The team that can bring it the closest to the enemy team's base wins the game. Kind of think of it like football or rugby in a sense. And people are playing for the top 3 spots. There are prizes to be won if you win. Just to give an example of the prizes that we're giving away, the first place prize gets an exclusive poster autographed by the Splatoon development team. If anyone's been watching Nintendo of America Twitter, you can see the developers themselves holding up the poster that says Splatoon Rainmaker Finalist. It's a really, really, really nice poster. That is the first place prize. On top of it all, they win some Splatoon amiibo figures, they win some squid pins, they win a Splatoon plush and a collectible figure. Second place prize gets all the above minus the Splatoon development team poster. And the third place prize gets all the above minus the amiibo figures. So yeah, I hope you guys are watching. Please stay tuned to keep continuing watching the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the finals as well. I'm CryptikSpoon. I'm joined with Bleck and also Hitzel today.
Yep.
And it looks like potentially SRL might have lost their match because Tudos isn't streaming anymore. We also have Who losing to the Savages, and of course Hanran winning over SND. So it looks like we might only have one stream to watch.
Nope. Actually, we can see the Savages through Toon Baluv.
Bellevue?
Bellevue. That's not my language. I try my best.
Oh no! Never mind. You're right. That is wrong. It's Toon Bellevue.
It's Toon
Bellevue.
So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that stream up.
I would just like to say that when I read the title, I thought it said the sausages.
The sausages.
So yeah, we'll tune into Toon and see the perspective of the Savages versus Leviathan, which I am super excited are making it into the semifinals.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said before, we had Hatchus on that team, Toon Bellevue, Savage herself, all very.
Is she actually
strong.
playing? I think she still needs to replace her Wii U.
No, she's playing. She's on the roster.
Oh, swag.
And I think that was part of the hiatus for the Savages. Was,
gotcha. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I thought that they just
back together.
They kind of made a team in her name, kind of like Team Paradise or Finding Pangit or something like that.
Finding Pangit. So we're looking at Toon Bellevue.
Yep. And as they are getting set up, let's talk about these maps. First up is Museum de Alfonsino. What are your thoughts on this?
Museum, I think, is a really interesting map for Rainmaker, just because, there are a lot of... Because of the way the movement mechanics work in this game, you can swim up walls, you can do trick jumps, the Rainmaker itself has momentum when you fire, so you can do some things where you do like a quick 180 and blast yourself backwards with the Rainmaker. Museum, I think, has like every sort of trick jump available. It has moving platforms that you can use to take shortcuts. It has some shortcuts that were intended by the developers where you use the Rainmaker's shot to propel you up onto a platform you're not supposed to reach. It has this map is kind of like a rectangle, like almost like a diamond shaped map when you're looking at from base to base where the Rainmaker goes, and kind of like as you get closer to the diamond that's near where your end goal is, it kind of turns into like this mini parkour like straight out of France, just trick jump arena. So it's like really fun to watch how teams can take like really dramatic leads on this map by taking the Rainmaker into some like really cool trick jump that you haven't seen before. Like, I mean, this map's been out for a while, and I'll still see people do clever new things with the Rainmaker on this map.
I'd
so that's
say
really
this
cool.
is one of the more unique ways to get into the enemy team's base to actually knock out the Rainmaker. Like you said, there's like a multitude of ways that you can drop that Rainmaker. The major one is mostly when people hop from that middle area onto that little side ramp to get up, because it's usually the safest way. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the quickest way. Sometimes you can like sidestep enemies by doing it in a completely different way, and people just aren't used to it because it's not like the meta, let's say, of how people are running the Rainmaker.
Definitely.
So yeah, Arowana Mall, what's your thoughts on this map?
PTSD. Arowana Mall is so like, I think that in most shooters there's always a map or two that everybody kind of knows as like the campy map. You know, it's the map where everybody just kind of sits back and just kind of doesn't do anything. Everybody just turtles. And I think that I think alongside of probably, well, actually Salt Spray, but alongside, you know, something like Moray Towers, I think Arowana Mall used to be really perceived as that kind of map, where it's just like these two big open courtyards and then a really like large structure in the middle of the map that's really hard to reach, and whoever takes the middle of the map can just kind of sit there. But over time, I think everybody's kind of learned how to handle that map more efficiently and how to actually like make pushes and flanks. And then when they went ahead and added some of the geometry to the map to make like alternate ways to get up to the top of the middle of the map possible, a lot of those possibilities, you know, started getting even greater. And the fact that Rainmaker has pretty much every single one of those new pathways available means that we're going to see a lot more interesting combat in the center of the map. So what used to be like the grown zone map is now actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, so Arowana is one of my favorite Rainmaker maps because it opens up a lot in the middle area. Like, there's a lot of ways to get into that enemy courtyard, I'd say. But then trying to actually dunk the Rainmaker is like just a war of attrition. Like, it's just like 4 people just duking it out and seeing who gets the most people killed to take out that dunk. It is incredibly hard. It's like being on Mordor and you're the orcs trying to like blow up that wall. That's basically what Rainmaker Arowana is when you get to the enemy base.
Definitely, yeah. Because Arowana Mall is definitely more like the traditional kind of map where there's really only one final pathway, but there's a few different ways to get to that final result, which is a stark contrast, of course, like you said, to Museum, where there's several different angles you can attack that volcano. But in Mall, it's pretty much just going through that one little half pipe, or quarter pipe, I should say, where everyone is watching and waiting and eager for you to try to poke your head through.
Yep, so now we'll get into Flounder Heights. Flounder Heights. So before anyone starts off, I'd just like to say in particular that this is an incredibly strong sniper map with the right positioning. It is incredibly dominating, and people always say that it's not necessary. It is not necessary, but it is an incredibly vital asset to have a sniper in Rainmaker Flounder specifically. This is one of the few maps where I would agree that weapon comps very much change depending on the mode. And a splatter scope and an E-liter on Flounder, if you can get into that enemy zone, is the most dominating weapon in that mode.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting onto the enemy wall with an E-liter and Rainmaker on Camp Triggerfish, but it's way easier to do.
That's basically it. You can control that whole mid area, and you can stop the enemy team from even coming into that mid zone. You can prevent anyone from actually taking a hit as a sniper.
All right.